Hi, welcome to lesson number 5, module 2 of the Apache Spark and Scala course. So in this particular lesson, we will be learning about Scala functions. Now before we proceed, let's have a quick recap of the last lesson. In the last lesson, we have learned about constructors, method overloading, inheritance, overriding methods, and abstraction. In this particular lesson, we will be learning about Scala functions and some examples to demonstrate the same. A function is a block of code which can be reused. Now, a function can be divided into smaller functions to perform repetitive tasks. Now, Scala's function is a complete object which can be assigned to a variable. So one of the core concepts in Scala is that functions are treated as first-class citizens. Now this is a founding pillar of the typical functional programming language. That means just like passing a parameter to a function, you can even pass an entire function into another function. So there are two major types of functions. We have built-in functions and user-defined functions. So the built-in functions are already available at our disposal, where you are at ease to create your own functions as well. Now let's see how to declare a function. So you have to use the keyword def, and then you have to give a function name, and then you can pass the parameters as input to the function. Now you may choose not to pass any parameters, or you can optionally pass parameters. And after that you have to use a colon, and then you must mention a return type. Now please note that you cannot avoid that, then it will result in an error. For any function you must have a return type. And then you can put an equal to symbol, and within the curly braces you can have the body of your function. Now please note that while creating a function, you can either use the equal to symbol, or you may choose not to use that. Now if you use the equal to symbol, it will return a value. If you don't use it, the function will act as a method and will not return any value back. So let's see how to define a very simple function. So here you can see that I'm defining a function called myFunction by calling def myFunction, and then I'm opening and closing my brackets. That means I'm not passing any input parameters. And within the body of the function, I'm typing print welcome to SkillSpeed. And once you hit enter, you can see that the function has been created. And from the REPL, when you type my function, you can see that it will call the function and prints welcome to SkillSpeed. Now let's see how to use an operator within the body of the function. So here you can see that I'm defining the same function called my function, but now within the body of the function, I have declared a variable called b, and I'm assigning the value welcome to SkillSpeed, and then I'm returning b. And now if I call my function by typing my function, again it is going to print welcome to SkillSpeed. Now let's see how to pass parameters. So this is called parameterized function. In this, you will be supplying the input parameters and expecting the output as such. So here you can see that I have created a function called myFunction, which takes two input parameters, a and b. Both are of integer data type. And within the body of the function, I am assigning a variable called c, which says a plus b. Then I have a print statement which says sum of a and b is c. Now please note that to call the function, you have to type myFunction and give two parameters. In this example, I'm giving 4, 6. And immediately this will be passed, and as you can see, we get the result of 10. Now functions are very, very useful to perform recursive actions. Now there is a special type of function called a recursive function. Now a common example for a recursive function usage is to find a factorial of a number. Now as you can see, I have declared a function called factorial, which takes a single element called n of integer type as input, and the return type is also integer. Now within the body of the function, I have created an if-else loop wherein I will say if n is less than or equal to 1, then 1, else n multiplies factorial of n minus 1. And then if you want to call the function, you can simply type var a equal to factorial and then pass a number inside the function. So here I am passing the number 5 and it is printing the factorial, which is 120. Now there are two ways to call a function. You can either call a function parameter with the default value. So in this example, I am defining a function called function default, which takes two input parameters a and b. However, I am initializing the parameters then and there. A is 0, b is 0. So this means these are the default values of these two parameters. And within the body of the function, there is a plus b, right? So this means if I call the function without even passing any parameter, still it will be executed. So the first example states passing two parameters, which is function default in brackets 10, 2. In this case, it will override the default values and it will print 12. And if you pass only one parameter, such as 10, then it is going to take it as the first argument, and the second argument will be the default argument, which is 0. So it is going to print it as 10. Now when you call the function without any input parameter, it is going to use the default values. So 0 plus 0, it's going to print 0. Now in Scala, you can also have a function with a named parameter. So here we are defining a function called function name parameter, which is taking two arguments, and we can also call this function by a specific name. So as you can see, I'm defining the function name parameters, which takes a and b of integer type as argument, and the return type is integer, and within the body there is a plus b. So once you define the function, you can see that I'm typing function name parameters a equal to 10, b equal to 2. This means I'm specifically passing the value of a as 10 and b as 2, and I get a value of 12. Now you can change the parameters as a b equal to 10 and a equal to 2, and still it prints 12. Or if you just mention 10, 2, it's going to take it in the default order. That means 10 is going to be a, 2 is going to be b, and the sum 12 will be printed. So to wrap up, in this particular lesson, we have learned about functions in Scala and some examples for the same. That's all for this lesson. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to raise a support ticket. Thank you.